fortune always hiding. I've looked everywhere, but I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air, pretty bubbles in the air.
There he is. This is my buddy Robert Blake, and I gotta say, we were gonna sell this guitar, but I just couldn't let it go. I mean, I've got all these other Robert Blake guitars. I had to make a deal with Robert for myself. Now, Robert ain't broke. He's not selling this because he needs money. He loves me. He comes into Norm's Rare Guitars, and he knows where his friends are, and so I just couldn't let it go. But there's a great story behind this guitar. I'm going to let Robert tell you because it's pretty funny. So.
This guitar is my dearest friend for 60 years. It was on every job that I was ever on, whether it was 2 days on Gunsmoke or 3 months in Europe on whatever the hell it was with Kirk Douglas. And the way I got the guitar, I'm 82 years old. When I was 19, I was drafted into the infantry in the Army, and I was sent to Alaska. And I spent 2 years in the freezing cold in Alaska. And they didn't have regular barracks there. They had things made out of cement and steel because it was very cold. And there was a place called the Field House where you could go and you could check things out. Instruments, basketballs, footballs, all kinds of things. Didn't cost any money. And you could keep it for a month or two, and then you had to go return it and renew it. Anyway, I did my time. I became a short timer, and it was time to leave. And lo and behold, I had checked out the guitar. Being absent-minded at 19, because everybody's kind of absent-minded, I forgot to turn it in. So I left Alaska on the boat with my big pack on my back, a suitcase, and a guitar. And I didn't notice it until I got to Fort Ord that I had inadvertently, I suppose you say, stolen the guitar from the federal government. Well, I didn't want to report it then because I thought they'd send me back to Alaska, and I didn't want to wind up in some federal prison. So I did the federal government a favor, and I just kept the guitar. So that's where it came from, and it became my dear friend and lived with me for my whole life. Now, Norm advertised that the guitar was around here, and somehow on all the Robert Blake websites, the fan sites and all that, they got the piece of film, and they were all saying, Robert is broke. He's selling his guitar. We know how he loves his guitar, and he's selling it. So the good news is Norm has 3 or 4 other guitars of mine, the guitar that I played in Cold Blood, the guitar that Perry Smith owned, the guitar that I played on Beretta, and now he has this guitar. And when I croak, my hope is that all of these guitars will stay together and go live happily ever after in some rich old lady's house who loves movie star memorabilia from busted up old cowboys. And that's the name of that tune. For signal way to sing, hiding.
I don't know all the words to these tunes.
I've looked everywhere, but I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. Let the good times roll.
Just a footnote. In this cabinet, I've got some of Robert's rare guitars, cool guitars. He wasn't much of a guitar player, or still isn't much of a guitar player, but I promised Robert that when he dies, I'm going to stuff him and I'm going to stick him in this cabinet too. So I'm going to have quite a display. Robert in here with the cool guitars.
That's funny.